What's up, everybody? This is Whiskey in the Six. I'm Rob. Today I'm reviewing for you the Arran Malt. It's the Amarone Cask Finish. Amarone is an Italian wine. I actually brought down a bottle from my wine stash upstairs. This is a 2012 Tedeschi. It's about $50 a bottle at the LCBO. And that's relatively the price depending where you are. Actually, because this is a 2012, it's probably quite a bit more in the US because unlike the LCBO, vintages actually count for more money elsewhere. So this 2012 would probably ring around 50 American, which is actually more than 50 Canadian. So really good wine. It's one of those wines where you would definitely have to have a nice steak or lamb or something along those lines to open it up, or a really nice pasta. Okay, anyway, Amarone Cask Finish, they basically use their bourbon whiskey, their bourbon aged whiskey, bourbon barrel aged whiskey, and they dump that into an Amarone barrel or a barrel that previously held Amarone wine in it, and you get this reddish hue to the whiskey because of the finish in the Amarone barrel. Unlike a sherry finish or a port finish, Amarone wine is not fortified. This one's I think 14 or 15%. 16%, so it's a little stronger than your average wine, but it's not a fortified wine by any means. Fortified wines are a lot higher in alcohol. A couple shout outs today before I continue. First, I want to give a big shout out to my first patron on Patron.com, Brian Hunter. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your contribution. That kind of stuff is really going to help the channel grow and be able to afford different bottles to review for you guys. The next one I want to give a shout out to is Sim from Sierra Springs in Airdrie, Alberta. Alright, as you can see, I have two Glengoyne 25-year-olds now, and that's because I was able to purchase one when a friend went over to Airdrie, Alberta, brought it back for me. So he bought it through some conversation I had with Sim. Actually, I purchased it, and then my friend who was traveling in Alberta at the time brought it back for me. So really super nice guy. I got a really good deal on this. I highly recommend anyone that's watching this channel that has access to driving to Airdrie, Alberta, go ahead and pick these up, or go ahead and check out his store anyway, because he has some awesome stuff in there. Alright, super nice guy. Thanks again, Sim. Couple big announcements I have going on for this channel. You guys know that I do Muay Thai. I coach it. I've done it for many years. Alright, that's Thai boxing for those of you that don't know what Muay Thai is. Another big Canadian in the MMA Muay Thai industry. He worked for the Fight Network. He has a few YouTube channels, I believe, right now. His name is Robin Black, and he's agreed to come on my channel to talk a little bit of whiskey and a little bit about what he does. And then he also has invited me to his channel where I would talk more along the lines of Muay Thai and MMA, maybe some whiskey as well. Alright, and the person that set that up is one of the coaches I work with at M1 Thai Boxing System, Evan Boris. So thank you so much, Evan. He also has a really cool Instagram called Striking Concepts. You guys should check it out. Okay, it's on Instagram. He holds pads. You see him coaching guys like Anthony Rumble Johnson, Alex Ricci, who's also a UFC fighter who is one of my coaches as well, and Robin Black is good friends with Evan, and because of Evan, I'm able to do these interviews. So thank you to Evan and Robin for all you guys have done. All right, on to the Arran Amarone cask. Okay, so much like many of the Arran Scotch whiskies, they're pretty strong. Okay, this is bottled at 46%. This is actually bottled at 50%. I'm loving the fact that they don't chill filter their whiskey. They don't add color. Okay, that's natural color based on the two types of barrels that it's been aged in, both bourbon barrels and, of course, the Amarone Finish. What I don't particularly love about Arran is they tend to be super hot, and that's probably because they're pretty young. Okay, these guys have only been around since 1995, and we do know that Scotch needs to be aged a little bit longer to hit that really comfortable, smooth zone. Around 12 years of age, it starts to feel that way. Okay, sometimes 10, not often before that. But it depends. It depends on the oak used. It depends on a few different factors. All right. This one comes in a bit hot. Okay, and I didn't bring water because I want to judge this based on how it tastes, because I do enjoy adding a little bit of water to my whiskey, but ultimately I prefer not to. Okay, and this one you don't entirely have to. I'll explain. So let's see. Okay, you get mostly that bourbon cask in this one, on the nose. Very, very subtle hint on the back end of that Amarone wine, all right? Some light fruits, a little bit of strawberry on the back end. A little bit of coconut on the entry. Let's see what they say here, because there's not a whole lot. It is nutty. I don't really see. Okay, it says notes of dark chocolate, cherry, Turkish delight. That's it. Okay, so I can slightly pick up some dark chocolate. It's very nutty. I would say peanuts, walnuts. All right, on the palate. Initially pretty hot because of the 50%, a little bit of that numb tongue feeling. On the back end you get that nuttiness, the peanut butter, walnuts, almond spread, and some fruitiness as well. Get a bit of that dark chocolate, a little bit of toffee. This one is probably the better of the Arran whiskeys that I've tried. When I first opened it, I was a bit disappointed because I didn't get a ton of Amarone flavor to it. Alright, but as I've had a few drams now, I start to respect it a little bit more as a whiskey and stop thinking of the connection to the wine that I actually really love. Okay, it's got a super strong nutty scent and flavor to this. Like I said, at first I wasn't entirely impressed. It is a bit hot. I've tasted cask strength whiskey that's probably younger than this that is not as hot as this, but that being said, it does come with a ton of flavor. All right, some fruit, that dark chocolate we talked about, some toffee, and walnuts, almonds, almond spread, peanuts, like peanut butter, and maybe even some cashews. All right, it's and then, like I said, on the nose, I get that strawberry scent in the back, and a little bit of coconut as well. So overall, it's pretty complex. The 50% definitely benefits it. It does help with a little bit of water, but for me, I was initially, when I first tasted this, in the B range. This has been bumped up from yesterday to about an A-, and I'm gonna stick with the A-, okay? So that's an A- for me. It takes a little bit of time to get used to. It definitely benefits from a little bit of time open, okay? Right off the hop, I definitely wasn't impressed, but now I definitely can picture myself enjoying this for the rest of the bottle. The reason I bought this second bottle of Glengoyne is because my first bottle is almost done, and I got it for a really good deal in Alberta, and I really do think that Glengoyne is going to skyrocket in price, so I want to be able to buy things that I can afford now while they're still relatively reasonable in price, and then if they go up, then I won't be kicking myself as much. I have this talk with friends all the time about Macallan 18-year-old a few years back at the LCBO being relatively cheap, around 150 bucks or something like that, maybe even a little bit less, and that's Canadian prices, and now you can't get it for less than 220 American. It's very rare if you can find it for lower than that. Okay, so I will be buying bottles periodically that I think are going to be going up. You saw my Highland Park 25-year-old, the Bunnahabhain 25-year-old. I also have the Glendronach 25-year-old Grandeur, right? So these are all bottles that I'm talking about, all right? And I will be reviewing them, so don't panic, okay? Anyway, thanks again to Brian Hunter, Sim from Sierra Springs, and I'm really excited to have Robin Black on this channel. I think it's going to be awesome, all right? Cheers, guys.